Hey, welcome back, Soul Fam, to the massive two-part finale of Architects of Soul. I'm Max Soul.
And I'm Mello Soul. It's been an incredible 25-episode season.
Yeah.
Covering the entire blueprint from James Brown's Funk's Fire and Aretha Franklin's Power to the genius of Curtis Mayfield and the ultimate versatility of Wilson Pickett.
Damn, that's a lot.
We've been schooled by the giants, Max.
I truly concur on that statement, Mello. For us in Soul and the New Vibe, and as well for every independent artist pushing R&B and soul today, these aren't just history lessons. They're a survival guide. And this is the cool part, Mello. We spent all season dissecting the sounds of STAX, Fame, and Philly, and now we synthesize it all into some actionable wisdom. A huge bonus as I see it. You put that string between each of them and pull it, and all of a sudden you realize how connected they all are, which means that the message is connected.
Connected indeed, Max. Part 1 is the sonic blueprint tracing the sound from the spiritual fire to the distinct geographic pockets that define the genre. Max and I show how knowing the source of the groove and how to switch grooves is the key to creating the new vibe today.
Exactly right, Mel. We're taking the lessons of the past to push ourselves and our peers forward into the music we're creating right now. So let's get ready to connect the last few dots.
Right, Max. You're listening to Architects of Soul, and it's out of sight. We'll be right back.
And welcome back. You're listening to Max and Mel's Architects of Soul. And here it comes, Soul Family. You guessed it. If you like this content,
yep, if you're picking up what we're putting down,
then please take a moment to give a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps these stories alive.
They absolutely do, Max. So the first and most universal lesson is conviction. Soul music is secularized gospel.
True.
Artists like Sam Cooke, Aretha Franklin, and Al Green proved that the spiritual fire could be translated into popular art.
So lesson 1, Mello, is emotional authenticity, and the common denominator is unapologetic emotion.
Yes, sir, Max. Whether it was Jackie Wilson's dramatic flair,
taking us higher and higher,
or Marvin Gaye's tender vulnerability, or the gospel-inspired earthy moan of Wilson Pickett.
And that man did moan.
Mm-hmm. They weren't just singing notes, they were testifying. And for today's artists, this means going past perfection and tapping into that raw, urgent truth.
It's that emotion, Mello, that truly makes the difference, I think. And that brings us to lesson 2, the power of the scream. So first, we had emotion, and next is conviction. So even the sonic tools like the vocal shouts and grunts of James Brown or the fierce vibrato of Otis Redding are forms of that conviction. And they teach us that your voice needs to be an instrument of absolute honesty, not just control.
True, Max. People can tell when it's not genuine.
They surely can.
Really channeling and feeling those things just lifts the music higher, which brings lesson 3 into play. This is something we have talked about all the time, Max, and you'll see that it's multi-genre cross-pollination expansion.
I love that word.
That has broadened souls permeating all kinds of styles.
Exactly, Mel. This emotional conviction is what allowed soul to transcend all these genres. Think about the vocal mastery of Dinah Washington. She effortlessly moved between jazz and R&B, but the gospel fire in her phrasing made every song, no matter what the genre, unmistakably hers. This confidence in core identity is the crucial lesson for the modern fusion artists who are blending R&B with Afrobeats, trap, world music, pop, and I can keep going, Mello. But bottom line, the source of your emotion must remain pure, even as the beat changes. Dinah Washington's vocal command was her identity. Dinah, often called the queen of jukeboxes, was famous for her uncompromising stage presence and vocal authority, and she was definitely uncompromising. She did not like to be played with. She refused to soften her delivery for pop audiences, always bringing a raw blue shout intensity to the standards.
That's true, Max. It's reported that many younger artists, including Aretha Franklin, would study her records in detail, not just for technique, but for the sheer emotional power she brought to every word, demanding that the listener feel the truth of the song.
Right, and as we talked about in the Aretha episode, which if you haven't checked out, and also if you haven't checked out the Dinah episode, you should check out that too. So check out Aretha and Dinah, and you'll learn a lot more about this. But so Columbia originally tried to make Aretha sound just like Dinah. And well, we were just talking about that last week on Bill Withers, because Columbia tried to make Bill Withers into something he wasn't either. So do we see a trend here with A&R?
Yes, we do.
Oh, they rear their ugly head, don't they?
Yes, A&R rears his ugly head as usual, but Aretha wasn't having it.
No, of course. But we won't count her tribute album to Dinah. Mel, because, well, it was a tribute.
That's right, Max. And before her death, Dinah remained firm in her identity, especially in performance, haranguing people to pay attention if necessary.
Oh, and she did. She was like, hey, the show is up here.
Mm-hmm. And the string runs through all these architects. They were about conviction over comfort.
Exactly, Mel. This emphasizes that true conviction means prioritizing the emotional truth of the performance over market expectations. A key lesson for authenticity today. Aretha had to leave Columbia and go to Atlantic to find her voice, but she found the right people to reaffirm who she was. And, well, she was off to the races and became the Queen of Soul. So
Agreed. Core identity and confidence in it, and also being willing to fuse styles while retaining your identity, Max. Don't, no doubt, push your art forward. Sure did theirs. And this gets us to the next and last lesson for this segment.
Dun, dun, dun.
Lesson 4, modern impact. You see, Max, the architects remind us that vulnerability and passion cut deeper than any vocal processing.
And each one indeed, make no mistake, Mello, we're testifying. In fact, the greatest crossover success came when the artists were being most themselves. So use that fervor as your foundation. Foster that sound in your heart and in your head, and speak to what you feel and what you know. Be genuine. These architects gave us the gifts of these things for our generation. Now we must do the same for the next generation of artists learning their craft.
Truly, Max. It's the gift we all pay forward. And speaking of pay, going to take a quick pause for the cause. Stick around. We'll be right back with more lessons next on Synergy right after the break.
That's right. You're listening to Max and Mello's Architects of Soul. Don't go nowhere. Hey, welcome back, Soul fam. You're listening to Max and Mello's Architects of Soul. Okay, Mello, before the break, we talked conviction. Now, let's talk synergy and how the studio environment shaped destiny. The biggest lesson from the studio wars, like at Atlantic in New York, STAX, Fame, Sigma in Philly, and Chess in Chicago, the biggest lesson is that your collaborators determine your ceiling.
Right, Max. Leading us into lesson 5. Choose your architecture. Modern artists can record anywhere, but the architects teach us to choose a soundscape.
That's right.
Are you the raw, heavy backbeat of a STAX rhythm section?
Yeah, baby.
Or the lush, orchestral elegance of Philly soul?
It's like a Barry White thing now.
Yeah, exactly. Your production choices must serve your message.
That's right, Mello. You're correct. We already saw how, even though they were great musicians up in New York, creating hits for Atlantic Records, but in Wilson Pickett's case, they couldn't get the pocket right on Midnight Hour. And as bad as that groove probably was, it just didn't have that something. It wasn't what it was supposed to be, so they went down south. And once they hit Muscle Shoals and Rick Hall and Fame Studios, and, well, we know the explosion happened. And obviously, that was the missing piece. That's something. It's a combination of a bunch of things that have to happen and come together for the stars to align, I guess. And all these lessons teach that.
Indeed, Max, indeed. So on to lesson 6, which is the unsung engines. Musical units like the Funk Brothers,
Yep.
the STAX Rhythm section, and the Fame/Muscle Shoals gang. That shows us that the band is everything.
Oh, it is. It sure is.
Truly, the team at Fame Studio became so influential that Atlantic Records relied on them to launch their biggest stars.
Yeah, and that creates cross-pollination and expansion. Our ethos and our aegis, Mello. The collaboration between Wilson Pickett and Duane Allman on Hey Jude is the ultimate synergy story. An established soul giant trusting a young, immensely talented and well-versed guitarist to creating a new sonic blueprint. Wow, that single moment of collaboration catapulted Duane Allman's career and proved that genius often resides in the unexpected collision of genres. This applies directly to today's modern producer-artist dynamic. Seek those unconventional voices who can elevate your raw product.
Exactly. King Curtis is the perfect example of mobile synergy, Max.
Oh, without a doubt.
Not only Atlantic pairing him and Duane as a package.
Now it's a badass package.
But his consistency as a session leader showed the value of having a trusted high-level core team who could bridge the gap between New York R&B and Southern Soul.
And bridge the gap they did. To remember, because like I said, they played up in New York, and then they You know, they played with the cats up there, and then they went down to Memphis, and they played with the cats down there. And then they went to Alabama and played with the cats down there. We cannot overrate the importance of that team dynamic. It teaches us that great music is a democracy of brilliant players. And also needed is a brilliant visionary with the know-how. And in this case, that was Jerry Wexler.
Great analogy, Max. And let's talk Funk Brothers for a second.
Ooh, I love the Funk Brothers.
Yeah, they were a studio necessity for Berry Gordy and Motown.
Better believe it.
And while the Funk Brothers are legendary, they were not initially given credit or royalties.
Correctamundo, Mello. A famous story from the Motown days is that Smokey Robinson would sometimes have to physically lock the studio doors so that the Funk Brothers couldn't leave for other gigs, ensuring that he could finish his tracks with their unique groove. And why, Mello? Because they were, drumroll please, the irreplaceable ingredient. This shows the intense value of specific talented collaborators like the Funk Brothers or Booker T and the MGs, and how the producer-artists like Smokey understood that the sound was actually the band and not just the singer. So everyone brings something special to the table.
And speaking of tables, we're going to table this convo and take a quick break. So stay with us, and next up we'll be talking adaptability.
That's right. You're listening to Max and Mello's Architects of Soul, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks for tuning into Architects of Soul. Our music is waiting for you.
Welcome back. You're listening to Max and Mello's Architects of Soul. So, Max, we've talked conviction and synergy. The final lesson for the sound is adaptability, rooted in a clear artistic vision.
Yes, Mello. Artists like Smokey Robinson and Curtis Mayfield weren't just great singers. They were brilliant writers and savvy producers who adapted their sound through decades of change. And sometimes, as we've seen, it's that one person that sees you and sees what you are really about, and boom, this shift.
Exactly, Max. Before Al Green met producer Willie Mitchell in Memphis, Al was trying to be a hard funk singer in the vein of James Brown.
Right.
But Willie Mitchell insisted that Al use his sweet, smooth tenor and slow down the tempo.
Indeed he did, and naturally Al initially resisted it, but trusted Mitchell's ear and their relationship. And this partnership resulted in the sophisticated, sexy soul that defined the early 70s. And this is really about trust.
No doubt, Max. In highlighting the importance of the right producer, Willie Mitchell,
right,
in correctly recognizing an artist, in this case Al Green's true untapped potential, convincing them to adapt to a style that was commercially and artistically successful.
Which obviously was proven correct.
Mm-hmm. A home run, Max, definitely a home run. And a critical contemporary lesson about finding the right guidance.
Leading us to lesson 7, the power of the pen. Being the master of your narratives, like Smokey at Motown or Mayfield at his independent label Curtom, means you control your destiny. Modern artists must not just sing, but understand the craft of writing, arranging, and producing to remain relevant. Music theory, practical elements of recording, and production allowing you, just like Aretha, and if you haven't seen it, go back and check it out, to stand in that studio or control them and tell them exactly what you want, where you want it, and how you want it.
Which leads us back to our fave, Max.
Yeehaw.
Cross-Pollination expansion.
I love that shit.
And we will use the Wilson Pickett Philly Focus as an example. The massive pivot by Wilson Pickett is the ultimate case study in survival. He left the dirt roads of fame and went to the sleek urban epicenter of Philadelphia.
I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, nobody saw it coming because he recorded with Gamble and Huff.
Right.
Before they were a massive empire.
And you know what? I kind of believe that maybe Jerry Wexler had something to do with that.
I'm sure he did. And the result of that album was the album Wilson Pickett in Philadelphia.
Which was a phenomenal record.
Yeah, this taught the industry that a true soul artist must relentlessly seek the producers who are defining the next sound for them, even if it means completely abandoning a previously successful formula. If it doesn't resonate inside you, and like with Bill Withers, they try to change you, that's a different story.
Hell yes, Mello. Bill Withers showed us strength in believing who you are no matter what those who don't get you are telling you. But for the artists who fought and won, this leads us smack into the lesson 8, reinvention as a survival. And boy, I know a lot about that. Mm-hmm. And plenty of people in the entertainment field, Mello, have had to reinvent themselves. Yep.
We
know.
What that's like.
And what and how they do what they do, especially as the paradigm of technology changes the landscape, and you must adjust yourself to the realities of life. But look at Dinah Washington and Nina Simone. They defied genre, incorporating blues, jazz, and pop. This refusal to be contained is the blueprint for today's successful artists who merge R&B, trap, electro soul, and any other style to create their art or your art or our art. Sounds about right, Mello?
Absolutely, Max. Adaptability. That ability to shift studios, producers, and styles, as Aretha did, moving between New York and Muscle Shoals, while keeping your core identity intact, is the key to a long career.
That's right. And before we take our last break to come back and pack up this puppy, we only ask before we go, if you're enjoying this content, please remember to give us a like and a subscribe to our channel. It would mean the world to us.
Yes, and it helps to keep these lessons and backstories alive, Max. And a purpose for their lessons, which should not be forgotten, but be studied to learn the path to conquer adversity. So their journey to our journey and your journey, along with the next brave souls who choose this path and can share in some victories.
Well said, Mel. Well said. And you're listening to Max and Mel's Architects of Soul, and we'll be right back to wrap up part 1 of season 1's Lessons Gleaned. Don't go nowhere. Hey, welcome back, Soul Family. You're listening to Max and Mel's Architects of Soul. And this is our final segment for part 1. The lessons from Wilson Pickett and Aretha Franklin's studio shifts confirm that the past is the best map to your future sound.
Absolutely, Max. In part 2, we're moving from the sound to the message and the money.
You, the money. Always follow the money.
Follow the money. Exploring how these architects fought for creative control.
Fight they did.
Yeah, and they became the soundtrack to social change, and how their business lessons are vital for all of us today.
Exactly, Mel. We'll be focusing on the cultural contract, the struggle for independence, the power of protest music, and the economic lessons for the next generation of soul creators. And so, as we end this part 1 episode, we want to close with our final thought and our hope for all of us, our art, our craft, and our creations. So we say, as my brother Mello puts it,
keep that soul fire burning, protect your sound, nurture your creativity, own your voice, and remember the lessons from the giants who came before.
And yes, protect your masters and seek out wise mentors who can guide you on your journey. And until next we meet, peace and soul, y'all.